Hey, so everyone's talking about this wipe. What led up to it? Why did the wipe happen? Well, one thing to consider is that one guy died on SAF, right? So when you have someone die on SAF, they're taking this extra half a second here to get the summon, and it's just not as clear that everyone is auto walking, pressing W in this area like Kobiaro and a lot of these guys are doing. Some people, they stopped doing anything because they were summoning, right? And that half second, people were maybe looking at their phones, looking at assignments. 1 or 2 seconds in speedruns can be the difference between things going smoothly and not. And this is a prime example of that. These guys were on pace to have their fastest raid ever. Shout out to Eternal for blasting. First run, like 50 minutes. Second run, 42. So a really solid second run. Maybe we can look into what these guys are doing right and how they're improving. But obviously here, tragedy. So has to Petri at the end, rip the skeletons. But yeah, let's talk about how this could not have happened. Obviously, the easiest answer is people pressing their buttons and moving forward. There's no reason to be drinking in the back on a fight like KT. You still have a couple seconds to drink once the encounter starts. So right here, stage one, just start drinking. You see these guys up front here, like Gozu, whatever his name is. They're all totally fine. They can drink and be ready, whereas you have these guys in the back that are just now dead and wiped the raid. If this is you, where you are not being attentive and suddenly you're stuck in the back of the group in this exact circumstance, number one piece of advice is to lip. These skeletons, when they hit you with melee damage, a melee attack, they do raid-wide damage. So easiest thing is just don't get hit by a melee. Well, if you pop a lip, that's what will happen. You can get away. Another option, paladins could have bopped these guys. If there was someone on the ball right here, they could have saved the raid. It's two people getting hit, it looks like, right? So those two people, either one of them could have been bopped and GG's. Potentially it was probably used on SAF, so maybe I'm saying something that's not possible. And potentially lip isn't possible either, right? Because these guys have potion cooldown from SAF. They go so fast from SAF into the next boss that lots of their stuff is on cooldown. Maybe the real hero play is that a paladin could have bopped, or sorry, DI'd one of these guys. No, that's available. Obviously, you'd be down a healer and it'd be a rougher KT, but this is to me the biggest potential hero play here that would have saved the raid. Obviously, not expected or anything, but you know, just mentioning you needed to have some way that these guys were immune to spells, and that didn't happen. So GG's, Ripperino. And anyways, just kind of sharing. Partially because to me it's clear now that this is going to be a sub 40 rate eventually, which is just kind of mind boggling, right? They didn't do all the tech. They had some things mess up, and maybe we'll look into that later, but without a perfectly clean run, these guys are blasting sub 40. Absolutely insane. So shout out to the pumpers. The competition now between EU and NA with 500s, please. And these guys, to me, is kind of heated up. And obviously, they didn't have the run that they did. 500s, please still has the leaderboard record. But I think the pressure really is on 500s, please, now to get a sub 41 to have any chance of beating this group. It's kind of inevitable. 3 back-to-back gives these guys a lot of practice and warm-up. In total, that does end up meaning that these guys are 4 hours into the raid when they're starting their speed run, which is a little cooked to me. A little bit of a long build-up that might make people a little bit more tired. It's kind of that in between of like, how do you get the best performance without people getting mentally drained and just less brain power? The more decisions you make as the day goes on, the less brain ability you have is something that I really believe in. And the fact that these guys are just doing the back to back to back, I think that might contribute a little bit to some of the mistakes in the last run. But it's kind of just that tough in between, right? Where you do want to warm up, you do want to just have everyone on that exact same page of how things are supposed to go. And that's the nice thing about having these multiple runs like these guys have. I don't think it's all 40 people in all 3 runs. Not everyone has 3 characters, but some of these guys do, right? We're watching Kobe on 3 different warriors just blasting. Highly recommend you watch this guy if you want to see how to improve your warrior gameplay. Giga Blaster. So, anyways, just mentioning, unfortunate, but they'll get him next time. I do have faith. So, GG's.